Welcome back to History in Motion, proudly brought to you by Midas.
I started racing about 20 years ago, just helping my neighbour as a mechanic, and then I've progressed through a little bit of karting and now into Formula Ford. I actually work on cars and prepare cars more than race them now, and then I get to drive, which is quite good, yeah. Definitely Kyalami, all the high-speed corners there, very, very technical. I really, really enjoy Kyalami more than anything else. It's definitely the best circuit in our country. Probably Peter Goff, probably not that well known to your average person in the road, definitely one of the most famous South African drivers around. He was racing a Porsche while I was growing up. He was just my idol, very, very good driver. Because I'm a Formula Ford man, it would definitely have to be an old Formula Ford, like a Lotus 69. Probably Ron Lydiard's Lotus 51, car built in 1967. They were actually brought about to start Formula Ford. So it's definitely the oldest car around and the most interesting, most valuable as well, I'm sure. In 1973. That's like 10 years before I was born.
Round 3 of the Midas Historic Tour ends off with a 1-hour endurance race, which will take place from dusk going into darkness and really test the driver's ability. Colin Ellison in his Chevron B19 leads the field, with Dino Scribante qualifying second in his Porsche. Franco Scribante is third in his Ford Mustang instead of his Porsche, which was damaged in an earlier race. With Ross Lazarus qualifying fourth in his GT40, less than a second covers the top 4. The safety car pulls in and Colin Ellison leads the field through turn 8 and onto the start-finish straight, where they will wait for the lights to go out before they power into turn 1. The lights are out and off they go. Dino Scribante has surged into the lead, but Colin Ellison is hounding him all the way round turn 2. Ross Lazarus has moved his way into third ahead of Franco Scribante. Steve Pickering in his orange Porsche 914 leads Ian Morgan in his Mercedes-Benz 280E into turn 5, closely followed by the Lotus of Neville Reed and Johan Nel, with a striking black and orange Porsche of Mark Shepard behind them. Neville Reed and Johan Nel drive round the outside of Ian Morgan, and we can just see Mark Shepard pulling into the pits with problems. Yeah, you can see the smoke coming off Shepard's brakes, and it appears that he has lost third gear. His team seem to think he should try and drive around the problem, and they send him out on the track again. The orange Mustang of Franco Scribante powers past the 22 of Michael Koenig in the MG Car Club's MGA. Quibus Brits, after winning the Mar car race, has handed the car over to his son Willem, who is now at the wheel and driving the first stint in the endurance race. Rookie Ian Morgan goes the long way round Koenig at the hairpin, and Willem Brits in the BP Porsche makes a space between the two as they head towards turn 3, and Fritz Kleinhans in the Rothmans Porsche follows him through. At the top of the hill, Andreas Letnik passes the Porsche 914 of Steve Pickering and heads after the Rothmans Porsche of Kleinhans. Dino Scribante is flying as he comes up to this group of cars in his white and orange Porsche 911 RSR. He will make short work of passing this group in his finely tuned machine. In the pits, Mark Shepard has called it a day, with his gear problems proving too much in the end. Here we see Peter Bailey in his blue Porsche 911 racing wheel-to-wheel with the Monegold Zwartkops Alfa Romeo Giulia. The Alpha is forced slightly wide and gets the left wheels on the rumble strip but doesn't give an inch. But Bailey has the inside line going into turn 6 and makes it count as he takes the position. Racing leader Dino Scribante flies up the hill and past the Bailey Porsche and the Pickering Porsche. Peter Bailey follows Dino Scribante through and Johan Nel finds a way past as well. Ian Morgan leads Dino Scribante through turn 8. It won't be long before Scribante passes him. But Peter Bailey is coming under some pressure from Johan Nel and his Toyota Westfield as they head on to the start-finish straight. The pits window has opened, and in the pits and refueling is car number 42, the MG Car Club MGA, being driven by Gavin Holt. On the track, the light is fading and the temperature is dropping, but the racing is hotting up. The Lotus 7s are putting on a great display, and Franco Scribante is putting in some great times in his magnificent Mustang. In the pits, Colin Ellison is standing by as Peter Jenkins brings in the Lucky Strike Chevron B19 for their pit stop. They're just 10 seconds behind the leader Dino Scribante. Behind him is newcomer Ian Morgan for his stop in the Mercedes-Benz 280E. Jenkins tells Ellison about the brake issues he's had with the car.
Unfortunately, I've got an oil leak in my Chevron, and Colin kindly offered to share his car with me, so it's a very, very kind gesture on his part. And it's lovely to drive another one of these unique and very rare cars.
Back on the track, and Ross Lazarus's brakes are glowing as he comes onto the start-finish straight. Pickering's 914 Porsche is stranded on the side of the track, and this brings out the safety car. Most of the cars will pile into the pits for their mandatory 3-minute pit stop, including Peter Bailey, who hands over the wheel to son Greg.
Yeah, perfect. As I came off the tabletop, I saw the safety car aboard. As the guy was lifting it, I thought, here we go. And yeah, you got to change on the safety car. So I think it was a perfect stop.
John Glover and Stefan Pushavez are in the pits, getting a bit of a liquid before they head out again. Neville Reed and Ross Lazarus wait patiently for the time to pass before they can head out onto the track again. Franco Scribante has a quick chat with his team while he waits, and the Brits Porsche is refueled.
Previous time at Zwartkops, I was here with the 924. Had some difficulties, but this car is just amazing. This 911 of my dad's are awesome.
Race leader Dino Scribante is waving frantically for his team as he wants to pass on some info and get some adjustments done in his pit stop. The Jenkins-Ellison Chevron pitted under green, and they will have lost at least a lap to Dino, who pitted under safety car conditions. Bad news for the Chevron and their challenge for the win. Back on the track, and we're blinded by headlights as the Lazarus Ford Ion GT40 makes its way up to turn 5. 3 abreast they go into the hairpin. Dino Scribante on the inside leads Ross Lazarus as they near the closing stages of this 1-hour endurance race. Dino Scribante is going strong in his Porsche 911 RSR and has a lap advantage over the Ellison Jenkins Chevron B19. The Pickering Porsche 914 is in the pits and being loaded onto the trailer.
Power failure. We lost the feeder to the alternator, lost all the charge, and when the lights went on, lost all the battery.
A sad end to the day for the team. The Lotuses really enjoy the endurance race, and John Glover in his Dayglow Yellow really stands out in the darkness. He is followed through by Jeff Gable in the number 1 car. Behind Gable is Andreas Letnik, who has a bit of a moment exiting the hairpin, and unable to hold it, spins his Lotus right around. A string of headlights stream up to turn 5. At the end of the string, the Ellison Chevron leads the Dino Scribante Porsche past the Mercedes of Ian Morgan. The Chevron is lying second, almost a lap down from the Porsche who leads the race. The flag unfurls and Henny waves it frantically as Dino Scribante takes the win in the 1-hour endurance race, his second consecutive win in this class. Colin Ellison and Peter Jenkins go on to take second a lap down. Ross Lazarus takes third, 3 laps down with Franco Scribante. Jeff Gable and Uli Sanne all on the same lap. Uli Sanne was the first saloon car home in 5th position.
2 in a row, I'm very, very happy with it. Look, in last 2 seasons we've had our sort of share of bad luck, so hopefully that's changing. I mean, the guys have put a lot of work into the car, and it's paying off for them. To be honest with you, in the beginning I was a bit concerned. The Chevron, not quite as quick in a straight line, but it flies through the corners. So I managed to get in first, and my objective was to try and sort of pull a 15-second gap on them. And I managed to get it to 10, and it just stayed there and stayed there. And obviously that was a worry. And when the safety car came out, I caught it right down at the last turn, and I thought I'd missed the boat. But apparently we caught it at the right time, and that's where we made our time on them. So after that, it was, when I came out and saw +1 on the board, I couldn't understand it. But I just kept my head down and drove for the hour.
Yeah, no, we had fun, man. Peter did well on the straights, so I had to make up on the corners. Yeah, I didn't know where we were. He got the benefit of the pace car, I think, a bit on the stop. And then when he came up behind me, I really couldn't see. His lights were blinding me, so I waved him past, and I was, no, not him, so I got him back again.
It was lovely, and as Colin says, he's fast around the corners, but I got the fastest lap, so I don't know how that happened.
That's it for round 3 of the Midas Historic Tour. See you next month when we head to Kyalami for round 4. History in Motion is proudly brought to you by Midas Sport and its associate sponsors.